There's a lot to do when you're starting a new business or LLC for the first time, and it can honestly get overwhelming pretty fast. The stakes are high, and you're likely plenty occupied with other stuff in the business to worry about all the structural and financial stuff that's going on. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what you need to look for when you're opening a business checking account for the first time, and my #1 pick for the best business bank account out there for small businesses to get started with. Plus, if you stick around until the end, I'm going to give you my step-by-step framework for setting up your business correctly on the financial side of things when you're just getting started. Everything you need to do from actually filing the LLC paperwork all the way to getting everything set up financially. So when it comes to business bank accounts, the #1 most important criteria that you need to look for is whether or not it can click the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Beyond that, the second most important thing that's going to factor into your decision making is the cost associated with the account, okay? Because this is going to vary dramatically based on the business bank account that you apply for. So you have to make sure you're aware of the fees that the account that you're going to get is going to charge you. Now, luckily at this point in time, there are a ton of no fee options out there where you can get a full-fledged business checking account, business bank account set up with no fees at all. But unfortunately, at the same time, there are also a ton of companies out there that still do provide business bank accounts that have a ton of fees associated with them. These are going to be the big banks. So your Chases, your Wells Fargo, these guys have a ton of fee-heavy bank accounts. So for this video, we're going to steer clear of those guys and focus exclusively on the no fee options, because honestly, a lot of times the features are better and the fees are lower because these online banks can afford to they don't have as much overhead, so they can afford to pass on those savings to us, the consumers, in the form of low to no fee checking accounts. Now, there are a number of online banks that are tailored specifically for small businesses, but for the purposes of this video, we're going to hone in on the best one out there, which is Aslo. So it was founded in 2017, and this company's purpose is to make banking more accessible for small business owners, okay? And so in doing that, they provide a completely fee-free checking account for small businesses to take advantage of. And we're going to dive in now to some of the features associated with this account. So let's do it. So the first thing is that there are no maintenance fees whatsoever associated with this account. Now this is pretty significant, guys, because like accounts from Chase, I know Chase's core business account will charge you $15 a month just to have the account open, which is crazy. I mean, that's like almost $200 a year just to have a checking account for your business, which maybe in the grand scheme of things isn't that much, but I would rather pay $0 than $200. So that's thing #1. Thing #2 is that there's no overdraft fee, okay? And this is where a lot of banks make a lot of money, is through charging you a fee whenever you overdraft your account. Now, hopefully that's never going to happen, but a lot of times it's a lot easier to happen with a business than personal, because with a business, there can be bigger expenses. There could be stuff coming in at weird times. Additionally, fee-free ATM withdrawals. So if you do deal in cash for your business, whatever that may be, you can withdraw from their network of ATMs completely for free. Now, this feature, this next one is very, very important. And honestly, it's making me think about switching my bank account to Aslo, because at the moment, all of my business bank accounts are with US Bank, because that's where I personally bank, and it was just easier for me to set them up there, and they also have fee-free options. But one thing that they do charge me for pretty significantly is wire transfers. So anytime that I get a wire transfer in from anyone that I'm doing business with, that hits me with a pretty hefty fee. I think it's anywhere from $20 to $40, which is honestly like not great. Like I'd rather not pay $20 to $40 every time I get a wire transfer in. But with Aslo, there are no wire transfer fees at all, and no fees on ACH transfers. So those are usually typically a little bit faster than wire transfers, but there's no fees on transfers. Basically, there are no fees on this account, which is amazing, okay? The only thing you might pay for is they have like a premium subscription where you can give them $10 a month and they'll give you some more features. But that's where they make their money. So they don't have to charge you these like nickel and dime fees on everything else, because they've got their premium subscription that you can choose if you want to. But for most people, they're not even going to need that. So this one I would never use, but it's a pretty cool feature regardless, is if you need to send checks for your business, okay, say you need to pay someone with a check, they're not going to give you a checkbook, but what they're going to do is if you need to send someone a check, you can basically DM Aslo and be like, hey, I need you to send a check for this much money to this person, and they will physically print the check out, write the check, send the check, all for free, okay? So like they're putting this thing in the mail for you, they're writing the check for you, and they're not charging you at all for that. So that's great. So that's kind of all the free stuff that they do. And then a couple other features that are pretty cool, I think, for small businesses. First off is you can send invoices directly through Aslo. So instead of having to go through like Stripe or PayPal or whatever, you can send customizable invoices directly from Aslo with your branding on it, not their branding, and just look professional and not have to deal with all this other stuff. So that's pretty cool. And then they also have Stripe and PayPal integrations. And this is like super cool because basically what you can do in their app is you can see your bank account activity as well as your Stripe activity and your PayPal activity. So you can basically aggregate all of your payment income or inflows and outflows in their app, so that you don't have to basically, like when I'm doing my accounting for the month, what I basically do is I have like Stripe open in one tab, PayPal open in one tab, my bank account open in one tab, my credit card in one tab, and like I've got all of these different tabs open. But I feel like if I did switch to Aslo, I could probably just simplify all of that and put it all together in one kind of thing. So I'm not really trying to make this sound like an ad for Aslo, because it's not. They're not sponsoring me, but if they wanted to, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But basically, these are the features that you want to be looking for in a business bank account. Okay, you want to look for something that has no fees, and I mean the additional like frills, like the integrations and the invoicing stuff. Like that's all kind of like icing on the cake, you know. But the core features that you're looking for are no fees whatsoever and no minimums. Okay, Aslo also doesn't have any minimums, so it's a really nice option for your business bank account needs. So like I said, personally, I use US Bank instead of Aslo, even though the account isn't as great. It was just really convenient for me, and I'm like convenience over everything. So you don't necessarily have to choose Aslo, but like I said, you want to find an account that has no fees. Okay, we do not like paying fees, and as long as we can find a business bank account that is not going to charge us any fees, then I'm happy with that. And hopefully you're happy with that as well. Now, like I promised at the beginning of the video, now I'm going to dive into my 4-step process for getting your business set up financially as a brand new business or LLC. So step number 1 is to file your LLC paperwork. This is pretty straightforward. The best way to do this is typically to go through your state's Secretary of State website and basically just file the paperwork for a couple $100. Now, I want to say here, I'm not a legal advisor, nor do I pretend to be one on YouTube. So definitely consult with someone who knows more about legal stuff than I do. But the easiest way and the cheapest way is typically just to go directly through your Secretary of State. You can obviously go through sites like LegalZoom, and there's a bunch of other ones that'll charge you a little bit extra to make the process look more nice for you. Because like the main downside to filing your LLC paperwork like directly through your state is that government websites suck, and Secretary of State websites are no different. So if you want a website that looks nice, then go to LegalZoom. But if you want a website that's cheaper, then go to directly through your state. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is to get your EIN. So I made a whole video on this yesterday. It's a super easy process to get your employer identification number. This is basically your tax ID with the IRS that is going to allow your business to exist separately with the IRS. So make sure to get one of those. That's kind of like, once you have the LLC and the EIN, then all of the doors are open to you in terms of financial products and really just like getting your business established financially. Okay, so LLC, EIN. Step number 3 is your business bank account. Okay, so that's where Aslo or whoever comes in that's going to offer you a no fee checking account for your business. Okay, so that's step number 3. Step number 3.5, okay, there's a little half step here, is to set up your PayPal and Stripe accounts. So depending on the type of business you run, you're probably going to need at least either PayPal or Stripe, because if you're selling anything online, if you're running an agency, like however, you need to collect money somehow basically. And so Stripe and PayPal are the 2 most common ways to do that. I mean, like with Aslo, you probably could get away with not having either of those, because you can just send invoices directly through the bank account. So that could be an option for you, but you'll probably need at least one of these 2 things. And once you have the LLC, the EIN, and the bank account, then you can move on to setting up the PayPal and the Stripe account. And step number 4, and my personal favorite step, is to get your business credit card. So personally, I'm all about business credit cards. I've got like 6 of them or something, and I've gotten a ton of rewards from them. And so I made a whole video a few days ago on business credit cards for beginners, as well as how to get approved for business cards. So when you're ready to move on to that step after you got your bank account all set up, then you can get your credit card so that you can start separating your expenses from your business and your personal. Because I mean, come tax season, guys, you're gonna thank yourself so much that you separated your business and personal expenses and income into separate bank accounts and credit cards. Because if you didn't, and you need to then go through a year's worth of financial statements just to figure out what your expenses and income were, it's not going to be a fun time, guys. So make sure that you are separating your expenses, get your business bank account, get your business credit card, and you will be living the good life, being a happy camper all around. Now, the next thing you should do is click the subscribe button down below and check out this video over here, where I do break down business credit cards for beginners, show you everything you need to know about them so that when you're ready to move on to that step after you've got the bank account, you can do so effectively and know exactly what you're getting into.